There's a single mental shift that makes difficult people vanish from your life without confrontation, and most people never discover it. You've probably noticed something strange. The same types of challenging individuals keep appearing in your world. Different faces, identical patterns. What if I told you the problem isn't them? It's a blind spot in how you're showing up. Here's what's really happening. When you react to negativity with defense, explanation, or emotional investment, you're sending an invisible invitation. You teach people how to treat you by what you tolerate. Every time you engage with toxicity on its terms, you're essentially saying, "This works on me." But there's a psychological principle that flips everything. It's called radical disinterest, and it operates on a frequency most people don't understand. Think about how a narcissist or energy vampire selects targets. They're not choosing randomly. They're testing for reactivity, looking for someone whose buttons are easy to press. When you display emotional availability to their games, you become interesting. When you don't, you become boring. And toxic people hate being bored. Here's the counterintuitive truth that changes everything. The opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference. When you hate someone, you're still energetically attached. You're still playing their game, just from the other side of the board. But when you become genuinely uninterested, that's when the magic happens. Let me show you exactly how this works in practice. Imagine someone tries to provoke you with a cutting remark. The old you might defend yourself, argue back, or silently fume while replaying the conversation for hours. Each of those responses feeds the dynamic. The new approach? You simply don't find it interesting. Not as a technique or manipulation, but as a genuine internal shift. You hear the words, recognize the pattern, and feel nothing. No spike in heart rate. No mental rebuttal forming, just calm observation. Like watching clouds pass. This isn't suppression or spiritual bypassing. It's something much deeper. You've genuinely stopped assigning significance to behavior that doesn't deserve it. And here's what happens next that seems almost magical. Within days, sometimes hours, these individuals start redirecting their energy elsewhere. They didn't consciously decide to leave you alone. They simply stopped getting the supply they needed from you. You became an unproductive hunting ground. But wait, doesn't this make you cold? Doesn't this turn you into the toxic one? Not even close. And here's why. True indifference to toxicity is actually an act of profound self-respect. You're not punishing anyone. You're not withholding love from people who deserve it. You're simply refusing to participate in dynamics that drain you. It's the difference between closing a door and building a wall. The people who genuinely care about you, who operate in good faith, who occasionally mess up, but take responsibility. They don't trigger this response in you. Healthy relationships have friction, disagreement, even conflict. That's normal. What's not normal is consistently feeling diminished, confused, or depleted after interactions. So how do you actually implement this? It starts with a practice I call energetic auditing. For 1 week, pay attention to how you feel after spending time with each person in your life. Not what you think you should feel, but what you actually feel. Lighter or heavier, energized or drained, clear or confused. Your body knows the answer before your mind does. Now, here's the crucial part most people miss. When you identify someone who consistently leaves you depleted, your job isn't to announce your new boundary, explain yourself, or have a big confrontation. That's still engagement. That's still making them significant. Your job is simply to become internally unavailable. This might look like shorter responses, longer gaps between communication, pleasant but shallow interactions. You're not mean, you're not punishing. You're just no longer available for the specific dynamic they're trying to create. And this is where it gets really interesting. Some people will immediately sense the shift and escalate, trying to pull you back in. They might suddenly have an emergency or pick a fight or love bomb you with attention. This is called an extinction burst in psychology, a last-ditch effort to resurrect the old pattern. If you hold steady through this phase, it collapses. Others will simply fade away without drama, instinctively moving toward more reactive targets. And a rare few will actually self-reflect, recognize their behavior, and show up differently. When that happens authentically, you can reassess. But here's what you need to understand about your own psychology during this transition. You might feel guilty. You might feel like you're being cruel. You might hear internal voices saying, "But they need me," or "Who will help them if I don't?" These are hooks designed to pull you back in. Your compassion is not unlimited. Your energy is not renewable without rest. And your responsibility to yourself must come before your responsibility to manage other people's emotions. This isn't selfish, it's sustainable. Think about airplane safety instructions. Put your own oxygen mask on first. Not because you don't care about others, but because you can't help anyone if you're unconscious. The same principle applies to emotional and psychological well-being. Now, some of you are thinking about specific people right now. Maybe a family member you can't fully remove from your life. Maybe a coworker you see daily. The beauty of this approach is it doesn't require physical distance, though that helps. It requires internal distance, which you can maintain anywhere. You can be in the same room with someone and be completely unhooked from their drama. You can hear their complaints without taking them on. You can witness their manipulation without being moved by it. This is true sovereignty. Here's the deeper pattern you'll start noticing. The toxic people in your life aren't the real problem. They're symptoms. They're showing you where you're still unconsciously seeking validation, where you're overgiving to earn worth, where you're tolerating disrespect because some part of you believes you should. Every difficult person is a teacher if you let them be, not by what they say, but by what they reveal about your own boundaries and self-concept. When you do this internal work, when you truly know your worth isn't up for debate, toxic people don't disappear because you push them away. They disappear because there's nothing for them to grab onto anymore. You've become smooth where you used to be Velcro, calm where you used to be chaotic, uninteresting where you used to be reactive. And in that shift, you've reclaimed something precious, your peace. So here's your action step. Today, right now, identify one person or dynamic where you've been overinvested in trying to fix, convince, or gain approval. Just one. And practice genuine disinterest for 48 hours. Not fake, not forced. Genuinely see if you can let go of the outcome with that person. Notice what happens. Notice what comes up in you. Notice whether they escalate or fade. And most importantly, notice how much energy you suddenly have for people and pursuits that actually matter. This isn't about becoming hardened or shutting down your heart. It's about becoming discerning. It's about recognizing that not everyone deserves access to your inner world, and that's not just okay, it's necessary. Your energy is sacred. Your peace is sacred. And protecting both is one of the most loving things you can do for yourself and everyone you truly care about. If this resonated with you, hit that like button and let the Winds of Thought community know you're choosing yourself. Drop a comment sharing one boundary you're committing to today. And remember, the right people will never punish you for having standards. The wrong people will reveal themselves the moment you do. See you in the next one.